After a slip-up against their crosstown rivals, North Carolina FC, the Charlotte Independents return home to host the Indy 11 for the first time in franchise history right here at the Sportsplex in Matthews. Tyler Terrens along with ex-German pro Devin Kerr. So glad that you can join us for a little Saturday night action here right outside of Charlotte. And for the Jacks, they have a new addition to the squad, and it is Jamaican international Javon Watson. Over 10,000 minutes played in Major League Soccer. He really holds it down in the middle of the field. He actually appeared in the game against the U.S. men's national team in the 2017 Gold Cup. Had the equalizer, but it was Jordan Morris in the 88th minute.
And a very defensive-minded move by Mike Jeffries in the squad. And he's had some issues in the back line. He's had some issue holding down the middle of the field. And he's brought Javon in to hold that down. That's exactly what he wants him to do. He can play the holding midfielder role. He can step into a center back, even play an outside back role, losing some of his pace. But look, 73 caps with the Reggae boys. He knows how to get the job done.
And on the other side, for Indy 11, a man who has taken the United Soccer League by storm and appeared on SportsCenter Top 10 for his terrific free kick goal. Soon saw 2 goals in that game against Nashville in Week 5. He is a handful.
Poor Matt Pickens. He's a lot more than a handful. The general had to watch Soon Saad run rampant all over his back line and put a couple in the back of the net. You saw the first one there, great breakaway. Nice ball played through by Jose Garcia. And how about that? 35 yards out. Dodge, duck, dip, dive, dodge. Absolutely amazing. And then the other man on the other side, Caleb Calvert. Jeffrey's telling us that it's been very difficult for him to kind of get things going. Enzo Martinez obviously not there, so the chemistry lacking a little bit between he and Jorge Herrera. Sometimes it's only the two of them, but that name right there, expect to see him on the Team of the Week more often, on the score sheet more often, and in the back of the net on a regular basis.
Calvert already with a goal and 2 assists on this season. Charlotte Independents looking for their first goal since March 31st, looking for their first win since the 24th, since their 2-0 win against Toronto FC2. Indy 11 looking to make it 4-1 on this season. It's all coming your way next.
Oh, I don't have my wallet, so.
Perfect. You can send a digital payment.
I don't have one of those payment apps.
Perfect. You have a US-based bank account, right?
I have Wells Fargo.
Perfect. Then you should have Zelle.
Perfect.
Perfect.
The #1 mobile banking app just got better.
Does your coach use Zelle too?
Of course.
Another way we're building better every day.
#1515 for any questions and concerns.
Moments away from a crucial Eastern Conference clash here at the Sportsplex in Matthews. Charlotte Independents 2-2-1 on the season, taking on a very sound Indy 11 crew who have won their past 2 games against Nashville and North Carolina FC. And for Martin Reddy and this Indy 11 team in their first season in the USL, Here's how they're going to go. Starting 11, as always, provided to you by our friends over at Novan Health. Suni San and Jack McInerney are featured up top, but they have some very good pieces in the middle of the field and out wide as well.
Two very contrasting styles here you're going to see this evening. They're showing a 4-4-2. That could shift into a 4-2-3-1 as Nico and Matt Watson will step back, hold the midfielding spots a little bit. Pasher and Lewis on the right. They like to get up and down the pitch fast. They like to go with precision and pace, and watch for Suni Saad playing an attacking role at 10 at sometimes going forward, but make no mistake about it. They don't mind losing the possession battle. They just want to score some goals.
Pasher and Iose are a handful out on that left wing. And for Mike Jeffries and his starting 11, Caleb Calvert up top, Jorge Herrera tucked in behind, but they do have a couple changes at the back. Donnie Smith getting the night off, and Samuel Vines, the 18-year-old, will be starting at the outside back position. And Henry Kalungi suffered an injury in their game against North Carolina FC 2 weeks ago after coming off the bye week. And it's Lee Jung-soo, the South Korean former international, sliding into the center back position.
We already talked about Javon Watson coming in, trying to help out in the middle. Not going to make an appearance here this evening, but look, Mike Jeffries really has had a makeshift back line on a regular basis, week in and week out. Bilal Duckett playing left back last week, stepping back into the center back position. So keep an eye on those four. But hey, you got Joel Johnson at your outside back position. That's not a bad way to get started.
Johnson already with 2 assists this season. He had a handful last year in his 2017 USL Defender of the Year finalist campaign. Get a look at our head referee for tonight's match, Guido Gonzalez Jr., who's going to be in charge of all the important decisions in the middle of the park. Again, Tyler Terrence along with ex-German pro Devin Kerr. Glad to have you with us as we are just a few moments away from kickoff now. And Devin, Charlotte right now a team that's trending in a direction that feels all too familiar towards the end of last season. And for Indy 11, this is a side that probably should have 4 wins or at least a draw in the middle of those 3 wins. A very, very sound crew. They've only given up 4 goals in 4 games. What can we expect from tonight's match?
Well, you and I talked about it a little bit off camera before the match. Indy 11 probably a dark horse in the conference, for sure, in the Eastern Conference. I mean, they've been very nice going forward. Again, they're explosive. They like to stay compressed a little bit, and they go with pace and position, much like we saw last year from FC Cincinnati in their glorious run through Field of Play and U.S. Open Cup. So watch them to go forward and go quick. And with Charlotte, look, they just haven't been able to put a full game together, a full 90 minutes. Mike Jeffries telling us, look, you know, the precision is there during training. We've done a good job putting together a good product. We just can't do it on a regular basis. We can't get out of our own way. We can get down into the final third, a little bit more ingenuity, a little bit more of an idea maker, because at some point in time, someone's got to set up and go beat a player.
Well, we did have a little bit of a delay. If you're wondering why all the players are standing around, is Owen Fawn Williams, who had a little bit of a sock malfunction, and obviously the question needs to be asked, did he go sock, sock, shoe, shoe, or was it sock, shoe, sock, shoe?
It's one at a time. We've gotten this out of the way. It's one at a time. Sock, shoe, sock, shoe.
See, I think you're crazy for that. I think you're crazy.
All right, well.
So then what happens if you get a phone call in the middle of sock, shoe, and you just have one barefoot and one fully clothed shoe?
If you haven't figured it out right now, everybody waits for me.
Well, wait no longer, as it appears that Guido Gonzalez Jr. and Fawn Williams and his sock malfunction have been resolved. Charlotte in their all-blue kits, Indy 11 in the all-white with the navy blue trim on the shoulders. First ever time Indy 11 has traveled to the Sportsplex in Matthews, and we are officially underway just outside of Charlotte. Tyler Terrence along with ex-German pro Devin Kerr. Charlotte 2-1-2 on this season. Just 7 points to their name. They were on top of the Eastern Conference, which just seemed like a few weeks ago. Indy 11 currently sitting in 4th, Charlotte in 9th place. Charlotte have not played a game in 14 days coming off that bye week after a 2-0 loss against their crosstown rivals, North Carolina FC. Indy 11 fresh off of 2 wins against Nashville, Saad with the brace, and then a 1-0 win against North Carolina FC, their former NASL foes. Now duking it out in the United Soccer League. Good pressure from Charlotte right off the bat. Calvert able to win it. Almost gave it away. Matt Watson lingering in the middle of the park for Indy 11, the wily veteran who came over from Phoenix Rising FC in 2017. Jose clipping it forward. He's hoping for an overlapping passer. Jose, who had that beautiful assist to Saad for the first goal in their 2-0 win against Nashville, and then Saad stealing the show with the free kick from about 35 yards out at Lucas Oil Stadium, earning him an appearance in the Sports Center top 10. As it'll be a goal kick coming up for Brandon Miller, who's making his 2018 debut, not reigning, but former goalkeeper of the year in the USL in 2015. Same year he won a USL Cup with the Rochester Rhinos. Suffered a thumb injury during preseason, and that's what's kept him out until this point. Andrew Dykstra was between the sticks, but now Brandon Miller, full recovery, and back out onto the field for the first time in 2018.
Very unfortunate for Brandon Miller. Really did have a nice preseason. Mike Jeffries and his training staff telling us, but he mentioned the broken thumb, and they've dealt with Andrew Dykstra, and also they got Kai likewise, young 18-year-old back there from Rapids Development Academy. Again, the great relationship between Charlotte Independence and the Colorado Rapids.
Watson finding Nathan Lewis. Decent idea there, as Venegas was trying to sidestep the defender. Here's Jorge Herrera, who's looking for a darting Cordell Cato.
And that's the chemistry and the disconnect that we've heard about from the Charlotte Independence squad. You've got Cordell Cato, who you tend to see line up on the right side a little bit more, coming across and switching with Alex Martinez. Herrera's got that opportunity to play the ball. You got to go direct, play it with pace down in the corner, let the speedy guy run up underneath it. Instead he lofts it, Indy 11 allowed to go the other way.
Brandon Miller will play short. Lee Jung-soo is getting just his second appearance of the 2018 season, second appearance in a Charlotte Independence uniform. Starting that 2-2 draw against Atlanta United 2. He was actually guilty of the own goal in that affair. Saw a world-class goal from Kunga of ATU 2. Bilal Duckett.
Novant Health is the official health care provider of the Charlotte Independence. If you need any medical
Sam
attention
Vines,
during the game,
18-year-old
please
finding
visit
Cordell Cato.
Health Tent at field
Able to
level
muscle his
on
way
the south
through.
side of the stadium.
Double team
Novant
comes from
Health,
Indy 11, but good work from
improving the
Cato.
health of our community
And a deep
one
throw-in
person
coming up for the
at a time.
Jacks.
Should be a fun matchup, Cordell Cato and Nathan Lewis. And then Sam Vines on the back end of that. Three guys with a boatload of pace that like to go up and down.
Joel Johnson couldn't handle it. Well, you mentioned that matchup between Cato and Nathan Lewis, both of whom have made a number of appearances for the Trinidad and Tobago national team.
And just a few short matches ago, Nathan Lewis actually coming out with a concussion in the NCFC game. They said that he's gone through all the protocols, good to go. Everything's status quo for that young man.
Sam Vines. Kai Foster getting a couple touches in. Former FC Basel man. And Bilal Duckett and Joel Johnson not on the same page, and we'll get a goal kick coming from Owain Fawn Williams. Fans, remember that Select is the official soccer ball of the USL. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit selectsportamerica.com. Receive free shipping on orders over $50. As Fawn Williams was able to sort out whatever sock issues he was having at the beginning of the game. Sporting the highlighter orange kit today. Work from Cordell Cato tracking back. He actually started at the outside back position for Trinidad and Tobago in their friendly against Panama last week. Manager Dennis Lawrence had noticed that Cato had a bye week with Charlotte Independence. Mike Jeffries obviously was very happy to see Cordell Cato be able to go home to Trinidad and Tobago, see his wife, see his kids, and to be able to get that sort of experience. He hadn't been called up for the past 6 Trinidad and Tobago national team games, but just goes to show the versatility of Cato, who we know him in a much more attacking role with Charlotte, and then he can go for the national team and play an outside back role.
And the inadvertent confidence that he's going to receive coming back into this independent squad, even though he's missed some training here and there. And that's what they've been lacking. Again, going into the final third, there's so much that's so eerily reminiscent of what we saw at the end of last season, where they can break teams down and they'll go left and right. They'll move it in, move it out, and play this beautiful football all over the pitch. But nothing hits the back of the net, and that's got to be very frustrating. But again, good training sessions, just hasn't come through all the way yet.
Mike Jeffries had said to the Charlotte Post earlier this week that it was just great to be able to get a rapid number of training sessions in about a week's time. They hadn't been able to work on things without playing a game basically since preseason, and that it was a good opportunity to reset the batteries, work on some things that maybe weren't coming out in the matches. And over the weekends, as Kai Foster gets on top of it, able to find Sam Vines. Vines clipping it towards the back post, was hoping for Calvert. But well defended in the end from Indy 11 and a goal kick.
I like the idea from Sam Vines. You have to wonder, Kai takes a look up there for a second, a little bit off balance, maybe in a position to have a crack on goal. And that's another thing that the Independents need to do a better job of is testing goalkeepers. Getting back there, you don't always have to beat a player one-on-one. Keep the goalkeeper honest. Put something on net, put something on frame. Give your guys an opportunity to get a second option coming off a deflection. And Fawn Williams has stood back there sometimes in matches for 20, 30 minutes without anything to do. So again, have a crack on goal every now and then.
Fans, can you guess who will score the first goal tonight? Fill out the Guess the Goal entry on your game program.
Jung-Soo on top of it. Soon Saad, or rather that was McInerney, who takes a spill on the surface here at the Sportsplex at Matthews. And poor giveaway there from Charlotte.
You can see the center back. Yeah, he's just...
It's nothing crazy from Lee Jung-Soo.
No.
Wasn't an ankle breaker.
Fancy footwork.
Here's Herrera from distance.
Jorge Herrera, let's fly.
And Jorge just, again, trying to keep the goalkeeper honest, but at the same point in time, you got to keep him honest by putting something that he can get to.
Well, Herrera with 4 goals already this season. Much similar start to 2017. But it's a matter of being able to keep a high fitness level, keep a high energy level once we get into the dog days of June, July, August. We apologize for the scoreboard, working on the bug currently. Giving us some issues as Lee Jung-Soo sends it forward. Calvert was trying to bring it down for Cato.
It's something that people forget about Jorge Herrera stepping in for a sec there. Tyler's 37 years old and, oh, you know, go play 90 minutes. That's great. Plus all the training sessions midweek. Plus all the recovery that you have to do. I mean, this really is a full-time job that just to the umpteenth degree, and it's great to be able to go out and play this beautiful game that we all have come to know and love, but at the same point in time, it really puts your body through the ringer on a regular basis.
And one of the things that Mike Jeffries is so impressed with Jorge Herrera is that when it comes to training sessions, he's not going through the motions. He's not just doing rehab. I mean, he's getting after it every single day like he's 18, 19 years old again, like he's a Sam Vines, which is the most impressive part, that he's able to continue to do it at a high level day in and day out. And you see a lot of guys at this point in their career who might be in this sort of position will go through the motions and will take it easy come training sessions to just be ready for the weekend. But to see Herrera at 37, and he's also coaching one of the best high school teams in North Carolina in Charlotte Christian, I mean, he's just an all-around guy. Alex Martinez wanting to go, I would say frosted tips, but he's dyed it all.
So better hairstyle, Alex Martinez's hair or Alessandro Rigi's beard?
The beard.
It's a tough one, right?
Beard.
It's a tough one. It's definitely the beard, especially when we found out it's au natural.
I want to know what Enzo thinks, and would Alex have done this if Enzo Martinez was still on the team? As Indy 11 might have had something brewing on this near side. Alex brings it down, but is stripped. Here's Ioze, decent ball in, and Brandon Miller gets his first touch of 2018. He's got a nice beard going too.
You're jealous.
It'll take me about 17 years to grow something like that.
So you've been growing one your entire life.
Listen, I do have a few years on Sam Vines. Give me a little bit of credit. Pasher moving to the outside. Was able to get around Joel Johnson, but the service not his best. Pasher, of course, coming over from Swope Park Rangers, helping Kansas City-based club to a Western Conference championship and a USL Cup appearance, but ultimately falling short to Louisville City FC 1-0. Thanks to that 80th minute goal from Cameron Lancaster. Pasher, terrific addition. I mean, Indy 11, there's a ton of quality all over the field. You have guys from the USL, you have guys coming over from Europe. I mean, it's just a great mixed bag of terrific footballers that Martin Rennie, the 42-year-old manager, has been able to acquire over the season.
Prizes and exciting promotions for the entire 2018
Lee Jung-soo.
For more information, please
Think ball in, was looking for Herrera. Second almost fell for Alex Martinez. Pasher linking up with Watson. Little dink ball over the top. Miller off of his line. Miller's able to get there. Sent across, and it's just over the bar. Goal kick coming for Charlotte, but some nervy moments for the home side as Brandon Miller was sprawled off of his line. Martin Rennie's looking for an explanation as to why it's not a corner.
Well, I think everybody in the world saw a deflection off that ball, but Brandon Miller's got to be really careful in those situations. Look, you've been put into the starting goalkeeper role to make very calculated and calm decisions. Again, you're the maestro of the entire squad. You see the pitch the best. You can see every move and movement of which it's made. So when a ball steps over and you're going to slide out to that, you better make sure you go with every intent to win that challenge. Charlotte's going to be able to escape on that one.
Cato is looking for Sam Vines. Might still fall for Cato. Cordell Cato, chip ball in. Alex Martinez a bit tardy arriving to the party. Herrera. Back out wide for Alex Martinez. Johnson. Sizing up Pasher. Plenty of numbers just waiting for delivery for the Jacks. Cato is going to clip it in. An easy word for Owain Fawn-Williams.
And history repeating itself all too early for the Charlotte Independents, as we've seen time and time again. They get down there and sometimes they can't beat the man. Sometimes there's not an overlapping run, but a lot of times they actually have some very nice buildup. Ball gets served in. There's just no one on the end of it. And that's the camaraderie we talked about between Calvert, between Herrera, Martinez, even Cordell Cato. They need to stay in constant communication so when those opportunities do present themselves, someone's there to make the most of it.
Soon as Saad goes down. Alex Martinez called for the foul, and it looks like Mr. Martinez is going to be shown mustard here.
Yellow card presented to number 13 of the Independents, Kevon George.
Actually, it's going to be Kevon George who's getting yellow for Charlotte. Called his name a ton yet. George, another Trinidad and Tobago national team member. You have a number of them from either team. Nathan Lewis for Indy 11, Cordell Cato, and Kevon George for the Charlotte Independents. Here's Kai Fosser. Find Alex Martinez, and Charlotte haven't really even been able to get into the attacking third with an air of grace about them in the opening 16 minutes. Usually see a little bit cleaner of a build-up from Mike Jeffries' side.
And some of what you're seeing from them.
Terrific ball forward. Sam Vines had to do well there. Great distribution out of the back as well. Gotta love to see that from the 18-year-old.
A great job from the youngster. And what you're seeing, Tyler, is just a little bit of discombobulation by the formation that the Charlotte Independents are playing and kind of having to counteract what Indy 11 is throwing at them. You're seeing exactly what we talked about. Soon Saad stepping into the middle of the field. Instead of playing up top next to McInerney, he's almost playing a 10 role, stepping back, trying to receive the ball and go the other direction.
Here's Herrera. His header just glancing past that far post. Terrific work from Joel Johnson and much better from the Jacks. That was one of the biggest things that we were talking to Mike Jeffries about in our conference call with him earlier in the week, was the lack of numbers that Charlotte have been throwing forward in the box. And that was an answer that came about when we posed the question, sort of what's going on offensively, because they haven't scored a goal since March 31st, shutout against Nashville, shutout against North Carolina FC. Devin, for you, is it as simple as just throwing numbers in the box, or do you see some other mechanical things going on in their buildup?
Well, we went even further in that and said, have you become stereotypical in your efforts going forward, that everybody kind of knows your efforts and the route that you're going to put forth? And Mike tells us maybe some of that, maybe we need to get off the beaten path a little bit more and kind of venture out, and people kind of bringing some more ideas to the table. But at the same point in time, they have had opportunities. Just saw it a minute ago. Unfortunately, that header from Herrera coming from about 12 yards out, so that needs to come 2-3 yards closer to goal. And also, about 5 minutes ago, ball played in, coming from the left side by Sam Vines, no one on the end of it. So they're doing a good job working forward. Need to do it more consistently for a full 90 minutes. Just that final crash on goal, that final finishing touch needs to be there.
Here's Nathan Lewis around Lee Jung-soo. Well, shielded off by Vines. The ball just lofted in, and it looks like it is going to be a handball.
Yeah, it's something that's not going to show up on the score sheet, or the stat line, I should say, for Sam Vine. Just a good job stepping over, 18-year-old, using his body in that outside back position, stepping in, helping Jung-soo Lee at the center back position, just shielding him off, warding away any threats coming their direction. Good job by him.
Build-up from Indy 11, but with them stride for stride defensively is the Charlotte Independents. Good ball forward. Here's Tyler Pasher with a little bit of room, picks his head up, gets all the way through. McInerney trying to go for the back heel, and Brandon Miller coming up with the save. Clever idea from McInerney, but Brandon Miller got down in time.
And it starts from Indy 11 on the right-hand side. Nico Mattern doing a good job changing direction, moving it over to Matt Watson as he finds a great ball down into the channel. And as you mentioned, Tyler, McInerney crashing the near post. Again, questionable from Brandon Miller, but he's able to gather his thoughts and make the secondary save.
Well, you just mentioned questionable from Brandon Miller. It's another questionable play. Seeing a lot of pressure from this Indy 11 attacking front. It was McInerney this time. He was giving Brandon Miller maybe a little bit more than he bargained for. Now Venegas is going to trot over to take the corner for the Indianapolis-based club. Play their home games at Lucas Oil Stadium, home of the Indianapolis Colts. Traveled about 9 hours here to Sportsplex in Matthews, looking for a big 3 points that'll move them to 4-1 on the season. Ball in towards the back post, free header. Well over the bar, but Charlotte will do better to mark up in the box. And it looks like the Indy 11 player who rose for the header, now prone on the ground. Might he come down a bit awkward, but appears to be all right as he gets helped to his feet by Cordell Cato.
A classy show of sportsmanship with Bilal Duckett stepping in as well, kind of holding everybody off. And I tell you, Indy 11, Charlotte Independents going to want to keep an eye on Kevin Venegas. Struggled with a thigh injury early on. This is actually his first appearance this season, but excellent on dead balls, and you saw it right there, floating a good ball from outside. Brandon Miller electing to stay at home. Decision making by the goalkeeper, very questionable in the opening 20 minutes of this game. But decent marking on the set piece by the Independents.
Along by Cato. able to get there. Picked off by Vines. Calvert almost was able to let it run through for Alex Martinez. Now here's Suni San with some room to play. Nathan Lewis running with him. It's behind Tyler Pasher. Not able to keep it in play. We've seen this Matthews surface here playing a lot quicker than we're used to seeing.
Got a couple slips as well, and you have to wonder what role the weather's playing. Things been much better here recently, but you can see guys slipping and sliding all over. Footprints as well, so another thing to keep an eye on. That's one where maybe at halftime you go in and have a little switch on the old studs, go for something a little bit longer, get better grip.
April showers?
You're waiting for that.
Alex Martinez. Looking for Sam Vines. It's a great ball forward, but Vines is offside. Youngster a little overzealous in his efforts to try to move into the attacking third. And a free kick coming for Indy 11. Fans are going to hear exclusive stories directly from the USL's players and USLsoccer.com's From the Pitch with written and video content that provides unfiltered access and a first-person look into the professional game and players' everyday lives. Martinez applying pressure. Indy do well to play out of it. Another slip, this time for McInerney. Kai Fosser.
Coming soon, Jack's House Soccer Bar and Retail Store, located in Elizabeth neighborhood near American Legion Memorial Stadium, is opening soon for Independence fans and soccer fans.
Alex Martinez.
For event dates and bar hours, follow Jack's House.
Patient
on
build up
Twitter
here from
and
Charlotte.
Instagram at
Now it's with
Jack's
Joel
House
Johnson.
CLT
Early delivery.
and Jack's House
Handled well.
CLT.com.
Seconds
Be
could be on.
the lookout for a great
Martinez
date coming soon.
battling with Pasher for possession. Pasher who comes away with it. Good idea from Nathan Lewis. Just out of the reach of Pasher. McInerney able to win it back for Indy 11. Ioze. Nobody stepping to him just yet. Long for Saad. Unable to keep it in play. And a goal kick coming for Brandon Miller.
If you're the Independents, you have to wonder, as the ball comes across, moving from right to left, Alex Martinez out of position from the counterattack just moments ago. Why aren't they shifting better defensively? Instead, Indy 11 having all the space in the world to run down the left-hand side of the pitch. You can see them suffering as they try and backtrack.
Lee Jung-soo scored 2 goals in the 2010 World Cup for South Korea, one against Greece and one against Nigeria. "38 years old, however. Over 50 caps for the South Korean national team, and Mike Jeffries says that while he may not have the pace that some center backs in the USL have, great passer out of the back as this one is dinked forward. Herrera racing to keep it in play. Actually, Kai Fosser pushing the idea from Herrera.
I like it though. In about 90 seconds, you get two totally different looks from the Independents. One's going to be a long ball over the top. Caleb Calvert trying to stretch it with a little bit of a flick on. And then the secondary, you get Herrera stepping back into that holding midfielder spot with an overlapping run by Kai Fosser. Haven't seen that at all. Confuses Indy 11, opens up some more passing lanes.
To the 28th minute, Tyler Terrens along with Devin Kerr. No score just yet between Charlotte and Indy 11. First ever meeting between these two teams at the Sportsplex at Matthews. Nathan Lewis finding McInerney, looking for the return. Cato with good skill. Finds a poor giveaway. Venegas back for Nathan Lewis. Sizing up Lee Jung-soo. Lewis around Lee Jung-soo. Still with it at his feet. Watson, great delivery in. Well, Johnson was there. Another bad giveaway from the Jacks. And the 11 trying to punish the Charlotte side, who just continually giving the ball away in a really dangerous position. Turn right into the chest of Brandon Miller.
In section 104, row H, as in Harry, you are going home tonight with your own digital copy of Paddington 2. Everyone's favorite pair, Paddington. The further misadventures of Paddington Bear. Congratulations.
Good work from Fosser. Long for Cordell Cato.
Well done by Charlotte. Good ball movement.
Alex Martinez linking up with Herrera. Back for Fosser. Calvert. Fosser again. Just dispossessed by Matt Watson. It's actually McInerney who slipped again up top, but there was a foul before the ball even got there.
Free kick for Indy 11.
Well, that's the best spell we've seen from the boys in blue so far here this evening as we approach the 30th minute. And it's a difficult thing to say when you're playing a match like this at home, but Indy 11 has done a good job closing down all the passing lanes and making the spaces very tight, hard quarters to work and manipulate in and out of. Again, much better by Charlotte Independence, kind of opening their thought process up, giving Indy 11 a different look. That's what they're going to need to do if they want to break them down.
We mentioned Indy 11's defensive prowess during the pregame. It's allowed 4 goals in 4 games, shutting out North Carolina FC and Richmond for their 2 clean sheets. Just a little how do you do from Caleb Calvert.
Gonna have a talk with Caleb. Going after my boy Matt. Matty Watts.
You did a good impersonation of him the other day. Can you do that?
I'm not exactly sure he would take too kindly to my impression.
McInerney, Nathan Lewis, good recovery work from Lee Jung-soo. Venegas. Lewis, really clever there. Indy 11 do a great job of playing out of trouble, but it's given away. Counter could be on for Charlotte. Joel Johnson leading the charge. Around the first defender, gotta be a card. Poor challenge there from Iose. Joel Johnson remains down, and muster for Iose on the 33rd.
And that's both outside backs going at it. Joel Johnson doing a good job stepping up into space as Indy 11 was trying to push their presence down the field, and Joel Johnson beating Iose Garcia as he stepped up, and he knew right away he had his pocket picked and he's going to go into the book.
Iose, 32-year-old from Puerto de la Cruz, Spain. With over 120 appearances for the New York Cosmos between 2013 and 2017. Spent there a number of years in the Segunda Division B, which is the third division over in Spain. Great work from Calvert. Early delivery off the crossbar. Popped up into the air. Von Williams just getting rid of it. Alex Martinez. Calvert was trying the return pass. Martinez goes down. Now could be numbers the other way for Indy 11. Back and forth we go. Tyler Pasher holding up play nicely. Bilal Duckett scampering, trying to win the ball back. Venegas. Saad around Lee Jung-soo. Well defended by Sam Vines, but you get a little bit of a glimpse from Suni Saad and what he's capable in tight areas. And a corner kick coming up. And as always, corner kicks are brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
That's classy ball movement by Indy 11. And again, in transition, Charlotte Independent struggling to keep up. As you can see, Guido Gonzalez Jr. having a few words with Alex Martinez. Alex very frustrated down at the other end. He didn't get the call as he took a nasty little elbow to the nose right at the top of the box. He's dealing with the repercussions right now, unfortunately.
Remember that the USL's official Twitter feed keeps you up to date with news, live game updates, and highlights from around the league 24/7. Follow @USL on Twitter.
Here's Kevin Venegas stepping up to the spot again, and they've brought in Nathan Lewis short this time, but just to bring one out of the box, draw one of the Charlotte Independence guys away. Watch another outswinging ball for someone to get on the end of it.
Venegas, won by Bilal Duckett. It's about 10 minutes until halftime. No real clear-cut opportunities for either team just yet. Iose, big sweeping ball over for the Trinidad and Tobago national team member Nathan Lewis. Bothered by Sam Vines. Goes back for Pasher. Watson just brushes off Alex Martinez. Good battle between those two. Watson is able to win it. Pasher. Great ball in. Cleared away by Vines.
We'd like to take a moment to thank Strikers for Christ WAM Soccer, Waxhaw Soccer Club, and CSA Matthews for coming out to enjoy tonight's game.
Herrera guilty of the infraction there, claiming that he got the ball.
Those organizations.
Seen some classy defending so far from Sam Vines. He's been busy having to deal with a veteran like Nathan Lewis, but he's handled it beautifully thus far. Strong header from Mitchell. Beautiful back heel.
Good defending by Jung-Soo Lee. Again, the center back stepping in, making his presence felt, but you can sense the back line of the Charlotte Independents starting to bend a little bit as Indy 11 are creeping back into this match, applying more and more pressure. Charlotte continually finding themselves playing keep up, especially with Suni Saad up top, who's causing all sorts of problems for them.
Pasher. Decent ball in over the head of Nathan Lewis. He'll be able to keep it in play. Ball from Venegas angled right at Brandon Miller. Foster. Big turn there from Herrera. It's cut out by Jose. Foster handles the ball from Sam Vines really well. Foster claiming he was fouled. Hito Gonzalez Jr. not having any of it. That's really well done by Matt Watson. Trying to send Nathan Lewis forward.
We'd like to thank our starting 11 sponsors for their support of the Charlotte Independent. Yopon Park, Adidas, Toshiba Business Solutions, and Pepsi.
Here's Saad.
Have a business or organization you'd like to
Good fall for Lewis. Lee Jung-Soo able to get a foot to it.
more information at charlotteindependence.com.
Credit to Indy 11. Every time it looks like Charlotte is going to break out on a counterattack, center midfielders do an excellent job of tracking back, clogging up the space in the middle of the park, and Charlotte haven't really had many options going forward.
That was one of the biggest compliments that Mike Jeffries was able to pay to Martin Rennie and his squad. And the key word that he used a couple times while chatting with us was compressed. They stay compressed and then they explode going forward. And you're seeing that a lot. When they turn the ball over, they're not able to get on the end of some of this ball movement that they've done so well in their triangle passing. You see them come back and their shape shifts perfectly, and it compresses so much so that all the lanes are starting to close down for Charlotte. And over the past 8 to 10 minutes, Indy 11 has really stepped into this match and taken control.
Herrera, some room to operate. Goes through one defender. Still Herrera. Now it's Cordell Cato. Easy work in the end for Nico Matern. Just had to stand his ground. Brandon Miller, a little bit of ways from home. The 11 on the move once more. This time it's at the foot of Venegas. Venegas jousting with Kai Foster. And a foul will go against number 22 of Indy 11.
And it's good news and it's bad news for Charlotte on the left-hand side tonight. Sam Vines and Jung-Soo have done a good job coming to play, but Indy 11 continuously coming back to it. Again, haven't had the opportunity to call Joel Johnson or Alex Martinez on a regular basis. A lot more on the near side of the touchline for both squads, which is interesting. They used to use a lot more of Tyler Pasher in previous games for Indy 11. Again, Mike Jeffries looking for a balanced attack from his squad, something to keep an eye on going into the second half.
Venegas, Miller, able to get a paw to it. Johnson, how good is that? Forces a challenge at a Nico Matern, but Johnson accomplished what he needed to do.
For me, again, Tyler, though, it goes back to the goalkeeping a second ago. Brandon Miller, not less than 30 seconds ago, he's coming out on that outswinging ball. It's a restarted ball, and he's backtracking to make contact with it. That's a ball where you start from your goal line and you come out and attack that situation. If you start off, you're already giving away a look at the goal unnecessarily, and then you're out of position having to adjust no matter what movement you make. If you start from your goal line and come out, you put your team in a much better opportunity. He can pick that out of the air and go the other direction fast. Instead, a little touch, and they have to play keep away again.
Strong work from Kavan George. A bit too lackadaisical there from Herrera.
The USL's official Twitter feed keeps you up to date with news, live game updates, and highlights from around the league 24/7. Follow @USL on Twitter.
Pasher, good step forward. Vines. Great build up here from the Jacks. Foster in for Cordell Cato. Caleb Calvert running in the box. Cato waited just a little bit too long, able to win a corner out of it. But Devin, you maybe thought that Cato should have played it sooner.
I mean, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and I get that, but anybody in the world could see that run being made right through the middle by Caleb Calvert, and your perception has to have much better depth in a situation like that. Cordell Cato does a good job bending over to his left and receiving that ball. When you take that first look up, you see your center forward streaking, either play him in first time or take one touch to set up and then play it. Cordell takes 2, 3, 4 touches, the lane shuts down, and they're back in the corner.
Herrera on top of it. Colombian whips in a great ball. Vaughn Williams gets there. Cato still has it in the box. Goes for goal. Sliding challenge from Carlisle Mitchell. Only as far as Joel Johnson. One minute of stoppage time here in the first half. Says Guido Gonzalez Jr., the head referee for tonight. Alex Martinez, around 2 defenders, loses the ball. It's at the foot of Suni Saad. Venegas. Way too hot to handle there for Suni Saad. That'll probably bring us to the halftime whistle. Really not many chances for either team here in the first half at the Sportsplex in Matthews. For the Charlotte Independents, just their first game since their clash at North Carolina FC 2 weeks ago. Indy 11 have had a tough stretch, and it certainly showed in the first half. Not much to write home about. 0-0 between Charlotte Independence and Indy 11 at the half. Devin Kerr, your thoughts?
Well, I'm glad that's over. I mean, a stalemate to say the least. Both squads just kind of lacking a little bit of intent in every way, shape, and form. You got to give credit to the visitors, Indy 11. They've done a good job so far, but Charlotte Independence, where's the creativity? I mean, you got to get something going. Mike Jeffries back to the drawing board once again. Figure out offensively how to get it done at home.
Well, Devin said it best. It is most certainly a stalemate at the moment. 45 minutes are done here at the Sportsplex in Matthews. 45 minutes to go. But before that, the halftime show is coming up. Don't go anywhere.
Oh, I don't have my wallet, so.
Perfect. You can send a digital payment.
I don't have one of those payment apps.
Perfect. You have a US-based bank account, right?
I have Wells Fargo.
Perfect. Then you should have Zelle.
Perfect.
Perfect.
The #1 mobile banking app just got better.
Does your coach use Zelle too?
Of course.
Another way we're building better every day.
Big intermission here at the Sportsplex in Matthews. Charlotte Independence and Indy 11 all tied up at 0-0. Not much to write home about between these two Eastern Conference sides who are looking for some sort of breakthrough, some sort of creativity to add some life to this game, which has been rather anemic offensively until this point. We'll take a look at some of the best moments. I have a feeling, Devin, that this highlight package is going to be relatively short. Not a ton of chances. We actually had one woodwork incident where it was an Indy 11 player hitting it off their own crossbar, but other than that, neither goalkeeper challenged by any stretch of the imagination. And you mentioned it. I mean, it's a stalemate. It's slow, and it's relatively lackadaisical.
Methodical. We can keep going.
Yeah, I mean,
no, it's been boring, unfortunately, from both sides, and it's interesting because Charlotte like to move the ball around, and they can bring you a bunch of different looks, and Indy 11 definitely go 100 miles an hour and faster sometimes, but the highlights that we've seen so far have been lowlights for the Charlotte Independents and the goalkeeping by Brandon Miller, and he has got to lock that down. He's got to be much better in the second half, better communication, better decision-making. You've seen that reverberate throughout the entire squad, and this is kind of one of those opportunities where, again, great ball played outside, and as he plays it in, we're hitting a header from 9 yards out. Serve that ball right around the 6, let someone crash onto it. Again, there's no craftiness going forward. But the couture play that we've seen in Indy 11 was lacking as well, and just a couple bounces here and there. Brandon Miller already on the ground before the ball even reaches him, and very unfortunate that Jack McInerney doesn't find the back of the net there. And then, look, it just went back and forth. Indy 11 controlled most of the first half, especially the final 20 minutes or so. We did see a couple bounces here and there. Charlotte moving the ball around, and that's exactly what you were talking about, Tyler. Ball comes in, comes off the crossbar, and Fawn Williams just decided to knock it to the side.
Sam Vine was probably the brightest spot for Charlotte in the first half. He defended extremely well, was able to get forward. Here are the halftime stats. Only one shot on target between the two sides in 45 minutes. 7 shots overall. Charlotte with a slight edge in possession, but at the end of the day, it's not really appealing.
Well, it's interesting. Both squads, Charlotte Independence putting together 244 passes. Indy 11, 236. The possession is close as well. The passes are close. But all of those touches, 5, 6, 7 yards from each other, very lateral or one-dimensional. And again, it's just not really bringing anything to the match. And I'm sure Martin Rennie, head coach of Indy 11, and Mike Jeffries are going to have a few words so that they come out in the second half and figure out exactly what they're going to do.
moving right through the halftime show. We'll step aside for a few moments, and we'll toss it to the breakdown.
Welcome to the breakdown once again. Thank you to everyone on social media that's given me positive comments, and I really appreciate the support. Here's episode 5, week 6 of the breakdown.
Canadian show jump here 2018.
Played into the penalty area, some good give and go here. There's a shot, and they've opened the scoring.
This team goal by North Carolina is fantastic. If you notice that there's always players on the move. They're always giving the attacking player who's got the ball an option to move. For Rios there, he has 2 or 3 options at the time when he received the ball, and he just found himself in extremely good space. But again, it's just the constant movement of the team, and it makes it very difficult for the defenders to track runners. Once again, it's a fantastic first-time finish, especially on turf, into the top corner.
Oh, bad back pass. Arboleda picks it up, takes the shot, and puts it in the back of the net.
Arboleta's goal starts with his positioning. If you notice, he gives himself an opportunity to close down the centre-back, and he reads the pass extremely well and uses his pace to get there. And then obviously, once he's used his pace, he has to slow himself down. And you see from the finish that there's nothing the keeper could do about that. The celebration is not so much in for Player of the Week, but the finish definitely is.
For Escalante. Goes well to pick this up. Goes through the legs of Navarro. Sends the service. Had it.
Escalante's skill here has 2 or 3 different stages. The first stage is when he receives the ball, and it's not the greatest ball to him, but he makes the most out of it. And when he turns, the defender, he's expecting the defender to tackle him. When the defender doesn't make a move, then that's his opportunity to create the skill. And the composure as well. Once he's made the skill, not to get carried away, but to have the composure to cross it. And it's a fantastic cross, and I think he's expecting more from his striker there.
Iwasa. Bijev cuts. Plays it across. Oh, it's in!
When Hall receives the ball here, it's not the easiest ball to deal with. He uses it to his advantage, and it draws 2 defenders out. And once he's drew the 2 defenders out, it then creates more space for Bijev. And when he receives the ball, I think the defender's expecting him to go on his right foot, but he does a fantastic skill. And at a tight angle there, it's a fantastic finish. The composure to relax himself, but to slot it through the keeper is fantastic. And it makes it very difficult for the keeper to get down low when he shoots it at his legs. I hope you've all enjoyed episode 5, week 6 of the breakdown. I look forward to seeing you next week.
Great stuff from Jack Blake of the Tampa Bay Rowdies and the breakdown, which is just a terrific addition to some more juicy content for you all to feast on as we are moving through halftime here at the Sportsplex in Matthews. Charlotte Independence and Indy 11 right now 0-0 at the half, and we'll take a look at the select goal of the week from the USL in week number 6, and it comes from none other than Kenny Trebet of Penn FC. Check out this bicycle kick. It actually bounces right around the 6, but the sheer power of it is able to get it past the keeper. Terrific goal.
Well, this is super, super clever. I mean, that's extremely difficult to do, and the Charleston battery thought they were cruising and rolling. Great job being able to step up there, able to get a tie out of it with the Charleston battery.
And then here is the USL save of the week from week number 6, and it comes from former Phoenix Rising FC keeper Josh Cohen, now in the Sacramento Maroon, and this is an outstanding save. Not only does he keep it out, but he holds it as well.
And it's a good ball from Josh Suggs, their left back, just moving up the pitch, doing a good job. They were pushing the pace all game long. Josh Cohen realizing that AJ Ajayka crashing the party, able to make a great save on the back post.
Charlotte and Indy 11 still at 0-0 despite not having played, but we got 45 more minutes coming up.
Oh, I don't have my wallet, so.
Perfect. You can send a digital payment.
I don't have one of those payment apps.
Perfect. You have a US-based bank account, right?
I have Wells Fargo.
Perfect. Then you should have Zelle.
Perfect.
Perfect.
The #1 mobile banking app just got better.
Does your coach use Zelle too?
Of course.
Another way we're building better every day.
Almost set for the second half here at the Sportsplex at Matthew, Charlotte, and Indy 11. A couple of goose eggs as the Charlotte Independents looking to get back into the win column after 2 losses to North Carolina FC and Nashville, both by a score of 2-0. Indy 11 looking to make it 3 in a row, but either team is going to need to find a breakthrough as it was a pretty lackadaisical first half. Charlotte Independents' upcoming schedule at Charleston, home to FC Cincinnati, and then they have a 3-game road swing at Toronto, at Richmond, and at Ottawa. And while those 3 teams might be towards the bottom of the table in the Eastern Conference, these are the sort of teams that gave Charlotte a little bit of trouble in the middle of a season ago. And up to the upcoming next 2 games, Devin, I think are going to be really good tests at Charleston and then home against an FC Cincinnati team who they left points on the table with in 2017.
And that 3-game road trip is going to see them play numbers 15. They're also going to play the Richmond Kickers, which are currently sitting at number 10, and then Ottawa Fury, number 16. So like you said, they got to go and deal with the Battery and FC Cincinnati. Good test for them, but then have an opportunity, though you have to go on the road. Those are games that they should be able to pick up at least 6 or 7 points in. Hopefully they can come out with 9.
Charlotte currently 2-1-2 on this season. A look at the Indy 11 schedule, and this is a daunting next 3 games. Home against FC Cincinnati, home against the champions in Louisville City FC, and then at one of the few remaining undefeated teams in the USL, and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Actually, both Louisville and Pittsburgh have yet to lose a game this season. I mean, if there's a gut check at any point during the season, it's right now.
Well, they got a tiny break when they're going to deal with Bethlehem Steel. Fortunately enough, not having to travel to Lehigh, but then they got to go on the road again and deal with New York Red Bull too. So a very difficult task. And one thing that we haven't mentioned yet between the 2 squads, for Charlotte Independence, they played 5 games in the first 41 days. Indy 11 played 4. They're both getting ready to play at least 3 matches in the next 12 days. Charlotte's going to do 3 in 14. Indy 11's playing 4 games in the next 13 days. So they're going to experience the same amount of workload that they dealt with in 41 days. Flip it in 2 weeks. That's going to be very difficult to deal with.
Well, we're fresh off of our ESPN USL Game of the Week with Las Vegas Lights FC and San Antonio FC from a night ago, and it was a terrific match. And as usual, Las Vegas Lights FC, just a beautiful mess. And a look at the USL Game of the Week schedule: Indy 11 and FC Cincinnati, the game that we just talked about, on May 2nd. And then it's Fresno RGV, St. Louis Phoenix. That should be a terrific matchup. St. Louis, a team that is slowly but surely climbing the Western Conference standings. And then FC Cincinnati and Bethlehem. And Nashville and Indy 11 on ESPN News on June 26th. Hard to believe that we're almost in the month of May, but that means we're getting into some juicy, juicy fixtures here in the United Soccer League.
We've been very fortunate to have 2 really good matches so far. First week, Colorado Springs, Sac Republic, and then you mentioned last night, Las Vegas doing some interesting things and not able to take down San Antonio FC. Credit to San Antonio FC and Darren Powell coming into the City of Lights and just doing a great job top to bottom. You saw some very clever and crafty play all over the pitch, but the Lights a little bit confused, discombobulated. The best quote that I saw from them, though, was the game was over, and you have to like the positivity coming out of their camp where they said, well, we're still undefeated, just not at home.
Well, it was a wild spectacle last night in Sin City. A 3-1 win for San Antonio FC, a side that hadn't scored a goal since April 7th. They come out and scored 3 goals in the first 50 minutes. Las Vegas were able to get one back. Jose Escalante scored a goal and pulled out a pacifier. I mean, it was all over the place. We had 10 minutes of stoppage time at the end of the game and went into the 101st minute in a normal regular season match. There was no extra time or anything like that, obviously. It's a regular season game, but just because there was some incidents going on in the field that obviously added a whole host of stoppage time. Let me ask you, you were on the call for the game. What was your favorite part of those 100 minutes?
My favorite terminology and verbiage that I use for Las Vegas Lights is it's controlled chaos. And I use that word controlled very lightly because the only person that seems to have any control whatsoever is Ricardo Farino, their goalkeeper. And that is a stretch. I mean, that is saying something, but I'll tell you, it's fun to see games going on in Las Vegas. The one thing they got to keep an eye on is safety. Last night you saw the game, it got out of hand, and that starts from your head referee. You know, Luis Guardia stepping in and inconsistent at times. You have to wonder what went on behind the scenes after the decision-making that he was lacking during the match, and I'm sure it'll be under a little bit of review, but a lot of San Antonio players just kind of moving up and down the field methodically, two-footed challenges left and right and too many cards being thrown around. Before the match, Isidro Sanchez telling us that they were a recipient of so many cards because they were emotional, because they were excited about what was going on. It wasn't negligence or malintent. We didn't see that last night. We saw some dangerous play.
Well, two stark contrasts in terms of pace of play between the game in Sin City last night and this one here at the Sportsplex at Matthews. A slow, and I hate to use the word snooze fest, but I think that both coaches would probably agree with that in the first half. Only one shot on target between the two teams. It was for Indy 11 and an easy save for Brandon Miller at that, as we're officially underway in the second half. And Devin, I pose the question to you, what needs to change even if it just needs to be the overall mood from both teams, because it seems like neither one of them are really gunning for 3 points right now. It seems like both of them would be satisfied with a point.
Well, make no mistake about it, it's extremely difficult to come into the Sportsplex at Matthews and leave with points. But for Indy 11, you're not going to see a boatload of difference from them. If you're a fan, what you would like to see is you'd like them to see a little bit more direct coming out of the back and in transition. The few glimpses of them that we saw going forward was when they went with pace and they were able to move the ball up the field quickly. It caused a lot of frustration by Charlotte Independence. So if they're going to have any success, that's what they need to do, be a lot more direct. For the Independents, I'd expect a change. I'm shocked that Jeffries didn't make something at halftime, but obviously something went on in the locker room, that he had a conversation, and he thinks that this is the group that can get it done. But at some point in time, he's got to look for a little bit more help and go into his bench. I mean, you've got Matai Mwape, Jan Ecker can help out in the middle. Obviously, Amon Zaid, he's come in here and he stretches the field a little bit more, gives you a different look than Caleb Calvert. I'm not saying Caleb needs to be replaced. I'm just saying something else needs to be done.
Here's Herrera finding himself a bit of space, but Caleb Calvert couldn't handle the pass. Here's Carlisle Mitchell with a little bit of work to do. This is the Charlotte Independence side who had a lot of turnover from a year ago. Enzo Martinez, USL MVP finalist, moving out to the Colorado Rapids for the 2018 season as Fawn Williams is able to collect. June Marquez Davidson parting ways with the side. Callum Ross heading over to OKC Energy FC. Lewis Hilton heading over to St. Louis FC. I mean, there was a ton of turnaround and for this Mike Jeffries side, which is still trying to figure out their identity and exactly who they are and who's going to be that guy. I mean, we know that Herrera is going to give you goals. We know that Caleb Calvert is going to be in a position to hopefully give you some goals. He only has one so far. I mean, is it just a matter of time for Mike Jeffries' side, or do you think that there's some glaring issues that need to be sorted out from a personnel standpoint?
It's too early. You don't want to jump on that train right away. We asked Mike, listen, who's the go-to guy? Who's clock's ticking down, the hypothetical clock, if you will. Obviously, it doesn't expire, but clock's ticking down. Who does the ball go to? And he said, listen, Jorge's the guy. He's the finisher. But equal confidence he has in Caleb Calvert and Amon Zaid. And so you got to figure out exactly at what point in time do you pull that trigger, because you see a lot of balls being moved around, but there's just not really. You use similar words, craftiness, being ingenuitive. Where's the confidence, though? Because you're seeing things going a lot lateral and nothing going forward. And he's got to give other players an opportunity if this continues. Let someone come out and show what they're capable of.
Deep throwing coming up for Indy 11. Nathan Lewis, solid touch out wide. It's decent interplay. Caleb Calvert, Cordell Cato over on the left side. Calvert gonna go for goal himself. Not his best.
Independence shot sent in by number 29, Caleb Calvert.
Lewis holding up play nicely, but Matt Watson tracked down by Kai Fosser. And a foul going out the other way. Joel Johnson.
And here's an interesting tactical move that Mike Jeffries has made. I was wondering if he was going to do so. A couple games back, we asked about Alex Martinez and exactly what role he was going to play with the departure of Enzo. And he said that Alex really came into his form in the past couple games, more specifically in the game against Nashville. He said that was his best game. The reason being so is that he was isolated on the outside, so Mike tucked him in a little bit more. Towards the end of the first half, he actually switched, flip-flop with Cordell Cato. Used to seeing him on the left, Cato on the right. That didn't happen. Alex was on the right, Cordell was on the left. So in the second half here, Alex is still playing outside, but he's tucked in a lot more. Keep an eye on that.
Here he is out wide, racing to get to this one. Keeps it in play. Well defended by Ouimet. Pasher. Thought Sam Vines might have been able to step to it. Instead, it's Suni Saad leading the charge for Indy 11. Much more space to play here in the second half. Saad right into the back of Lee Jung-soo. Leaving it off for Venegas. Matt Watson. Good penetrating pass. Venegas looking for McInerney. Calm, cool, and collected was Lee Jung-soo. Some updates from around the USL. Charleston Battery right now 1-0 over the Tampa Bay Rowdies. North Carolina FC 3-0 over Penn FC in the 54th minute. Pittsburgh Riverhounds looking to stay unbeaten 1-0 over Atlanta United 2 in the 54th. And how about Louisville City FC, rematch of the Eastern Conference quarterfinals from a year ago. 3-0 over the Bethlehem Steel in only the 41st minute. And some bigger matches coming up later tonight. Swope Park and St. Louis FC, Orange County and Colorado Springs Switchbacks, Phoenix Rising FC in Fresno, Reno OKC, and Sacramento and Tulsa. So a juicy slate of fixtures on this Saturday as we're wrapping up the month of April in the USL. More of the same from 2017. Louisville City FC atop the table in the Eastern Conference. Real Monarchs towards the top of the West as well.
I'm sure Mike Jeffries' stomach is going to be turning after he hears North Carolina FC up 3-0 on Penn FC. Austin Duluth, Daniel Rios, and Kyle Becker all netting 3 goals in the span of 8 minutes. It's going to be frustrating, especially after losing 2-0 just 2 weeks ago.
Cameron Lancaster continuing his fine start to 2018. He was the hero, of course, in the USL Cup final in 2017. He's got 2 goals so far in the first half for Louisville City FC, as we mentioned, up 3-0 on Bethlehem. Easily the toughest place to play, not only in the Eastern Conference, but probably in the USL, Slugger Field, especially since Capelli Sports Stadium is no longer in the mix. Ouimet. Ayoze. Is it me, Devin, or have we not seen the stereotypical Mike Jeffries side bite in the middle of the field in terms of going after the ball and putting pressure on the opposition?
It's almost non-existent. I was just wondering from a formation standpoint if Jeffries would pull the trigger and almost shift into a 4-1-4-1. He played it one of the matches earlier this year, played a 4-1-4-1, and why not let Kevon George sit, let Kai Foster step up in front of him, so let him play the holding midfielder role by himself. You're going to compress a little bit more, but you play the 4-1-4-1 and enables Jorge Herrera to drop back into the 10. You bring Alex Martinez in a little bit more. You confine yourself in the middle, but as you expand going forward, it's going to provide a lot more frustration for Indy 11.
Watson, out wide for Pasher, drives it across. Nicely handled by Bilal Duckett. from Alex Martinez to try to win it back. Herrera a little bit late on that slide tackle. There's Pasher sizing up Joel Johnson. Pasher sidestepping Johnson. Free header, McInerney. Can't put it on frame. And more of the same for this Indy 11 side, who has been able to get the ball in some fortuitous positions just due to Charlotte's inability to get out of trouble, but they haven't been able to punish them just yet.
And Joel Johnson got a taste of his own medicine from some clever play by Tyler Pasher, lofting a great ball to the back post, and you see Jack McInerney stepping in there trying to finish it off. Unfortunately, it wasn't what the doctor ordered. Charlotte Independence are able to stay 0-0 in the 56th minute.
The USL's official Facebook page brings you the best from across the league with news, highlights, and interactive features. Like the USL on Facebook to get the league's best content delivered to you.
Von Williams, who has yet to make a save, clears it away. Kavan George gives it away right in the middle of the park. Suni Saad looking for Nathan Lewis, encouraging first touch forward. Working on the 18-year-old Sam Vines. It's a good idea from Lewis. Bilal Duckett, Notre Dame product. Kai Foster. Porto Cato. Little dink over the top. Foster is looking for Herrera over the Colombian's head. And Iose sprinting the opposite direction. Jack's Militia trying to spur on the home side. He's looking to avoid 3 straight losses. Not a bad idea from Alex Martinez, but he gives it away. Tyler Pasher is off and running. McInerney. Lewis. Trying to get around Sam Vines. Lewis twisting and turning, still with it. And Nathan Lewis, who had already done his fair share of running, might have run out of gas there right at the last as he was looking for the 1-2 from Suni Saad.
The goal entry on your game program and return it to the guest relations stand located near the main entrance.
Fans want to get exclusive video content and photography from across the USL? Make sure to follow the league's official Instagram account at USL Soccer. Maybe give Devin Kerr a follow as well. Always posting adorable pictures of his 2 little puppies.
Leave them out of this. Don't do it.
I love Trace and Finley.
They're the best. These little guys.
Trace is a handful.
Phenomenal footballers.
To the 60th minute of the Sportsplex at Matthews. Tyler Terrens along with Devin Kerr. Glad to have you with us. Stalemate between these 2 Eastern Conference foes. First time they're playing here at the Sportsplex at Matthews. Still no shots on goal for the Independents. Just 1 for Indy 11. Cato gives it away. Venegas. Kavan George can't win it back. Still Venegas. George able to get a last-ditched effort in. Alex Martinez. Jorge Herrera. Towards the back post, hoping for Calvert. And a bad challenge from behind. No card for Calvert. We talked about the lack of numbers in the penalty area, and it was really just Caleb who even could have tried to get on the end of that Herrera cross.
But again, Tyler, I'm going to steal your word there for a second. Good job. Alex finds Jorge Herrera in transition down in the corner. Jorge lets him run by it, takes a look up, and hoping that Caleb Calvert can run underneath it. I mean, a wink, a prayer, and a hope isn't going to get you through a season. And again, you're only 5-6 games in, but you got to find a way to do something different. Again, you're getting down in there. Take a look up. Why not cut it back and have a go on your left foot? Why not cut it back and play it across the top of the box to one of the supporting troops coming up? And if they're not there, get someone else in there that'll get the job done.
Good ball intended for Pasher. Now sizing up Johnson. Support comes in the form of Alex Martinez. Suni Saad lets it roll through. Suni Saad almost sneaked it past Brandon Miller. Able to get a touch to it, and a corner kick coming up. Best chance of the game so far.
And there's the quick fire option that is Suni Saad. We saw him at the top of the broadcast and the two great goals that he had just 2 weeks ago. Brandon Miller making a good save, the tiniest of a little touch, Tyler. You weren't kidding. Brandon Miller able to keep him out of the back of the net, finding his third in 2 weeks.
It's not the first time we've seen a Suni Saad shot dipping and swerving any which way. Now on top of the corner. Saad, great ball in. Free header for Mitchell. Couldn't get it right, and Alex Martinez will see it out of play.
It's a phenomenal ball by Saad, and he's been on most of the set piece duties since we have not had the opportunity to see Kevin Venegas, and you can see he serves a great ball in. We've seen him from the dead ball about 35 yards out, and he'll hit a couple of in-swingers, out-swingers over towards the touchline as well. Very dangerous.
Vines, another hopeful ball. Seconds could fall. Covered by Pasher. The 1-2 cut out by Duckett. Able to find Jorge Herrera. See Alex Martinez with his hands up, looking for an option. Johnson whipping it in. Cleared away by Venegas, but he does concede a corner.
That's smart defending by Venegas. Wasn't exactly sure what Fawn Williams wanted him to do, and when in doubt, knock it out. Good job, good defending.
That was another hopeful ball from Johnson, but sometimes it's not the worst thing in the world to just whip it in and ask some questions of the defense. But it just seems like Charlotte's been deferring to that more times than not. Jorge Herrera on top of the corner. And a slew of bodies surrounding Fawn Williams. Jorge Herrera patiently waiting to take this corner for the Jacks. Sometimes in games like these, it can be a set piece. That is the difference maker. Herrera, good ball in. Fawn Williams gets a touch to it. And a foul coming out the other way, as the referee had warned Caleb Calvert and company of interfering with Fawn Williams. And Charlotte are guilty of it.
And it's difficult for Caleb. He's got that big frame constantly in motion and movement, trying to find the nice tiny little nook and cranny to try and put something in the back of the net. He likes to throw his weight around, does a good job causing frustration in the back line up there, but unfortunately, referee has to blow the whistle.
Well, it looks like we're going to have our first substitute of the game, and it's going to come from Martin Rennie in Indy 11. It'll be Zach Steinberger checking in, and Nathan Lewis making way for Steinberger. Interesting selection, as I thought Nathan Lewis is probably one of the more dangerous attacking options for Indy 11 in these 65 minutes.
And what you're probably going to see out of Martin Rennie and his boys is be surprised if Suni Saad jumps out to the right side and Steinberger steps into that attacking midfielder role. Again, they like to rotate a lot of positions. They'll bounce right and left all over the pitch, but Never really know until they step on exactly where they're going to be, but SUNY does tend to flow on the right and on the left on the outside. Also play that attacking midfielder role.
Lee Jung-soo striding forward. Decent idea intended for Sam Vines, but well behind the youngster.
We have substitution for Indy 11.
And now Steinberger, 25-year-old from Long Beach, California. In his second stint with Indy 11, came over from Houston on loan in 2015, the Dynamo that is. Had 12 appearances and 2 goals. As Nathan Lewis will make way for Steinberger. Number 23 played his college ball at Butler University. He's with the Jacksonville Armada. 2017. Here's Alex Martinez, Joel Johnson to his right. Clever footwork. Kai Fosser. Carlisle Mitchell is there. This Mike Jeffries' side has not been as technically clean as we're used to seeing tonight. Saad. Or giveaway, Calvert. Good idea there from Herrera. Charlotte doing a much better job of closing the space down for Indy 11. Kevon George can't get there. Now it's Tyler Pasher leading the charge the other way. The former Swope Park man on the move. Pasher still has it. Tyler Pasher. Purposeful move from Indy 11. Brandon Miller probably had it covered, though.
And that's what you get out of them. We said, look, keep an idea they want to stay compressed and they're going to go fast. Martin Rennie keeps them very organized, and as they come off of the opportunity from Charlotte Independent, Tyler Pasher moving from the left over to the right, doing a good job. Instead of SUNY Saad going to the right, he's brought him to the left. Steinberger stepping into the middle. Tyler Pasher over on the right-hand side. So we're going to see Pasher going up for Sam Vines now. That'll be an interesting matchup.
Poor giveaway. SUNY Saad running right at Bilal Duckett. Saad stumbles for a moment. Ioze. McInerney nods it down, but Kai Fosser cuts it out before it can get to Pasher.
Novant Health is proud to be the presenting sponsor and official team physician of your Charlotte Independence. Novant Health, improving the health of our community, one person at a time.
Pasher with good skill. Cordell Cato, though, just able to nick it from him. Joel Johnson. Alex Martinez. Patient and methodical build-up from the Jacks here. Calvert. Upwards of at least 15 passes in this particular move. Vines. Sam Vines. Come on, George. Working on Venegas. That's Cordell Cato. And what was a long and drawn-out move ends up in virtually nothing for Charlotte. Fans, remember to visit the USL's Instagram story every Monday evening to watch Kelsey Steele's hat trick as she breaks down 3 key talking points from the previous week's action. Finds big ball forward, Herrera able to keep it. Alex Martinez taken down from behind, somehow still with the ball at his feet. And last touch is off of Indy 11. Alex Martinez pleading with the assistant referee that there was a foul involved.
We haven't seen Alex and Cato flip-flop, and I'm not exactly sure how the referee doesn't blow the whistle there. Soon Saad steps in with a boatload of force behind that tackle. Charlotte Independence able to grab it, throwing off of it anyway, but you know, right as I said that they were tucking Alex Martinez in, he's played a lot more wide, and haven't seen him involved as much. Used to see he and Cato flip-flop a little bit more. Haven't seen that a lot, or almost at all in this match. We're 72 minutes into the game, and at what point in time is Mike Jeffries going to go to his bench, bring on a new spark plug to get things going?
Here's Joel Johnson, big touch towards the byline. Johnson for Herrera off the crossbar. Magnificent move from Charlotte, and Herrera was that close to giving Charlotte the lead.
Well, I said spark plug, and Joel Johnson said, I can do that. Watch this. Gets to the byline, good ball played back. I'll provide the sparks of my own, and Jorge Herrera almost sets off fireworks at the Sportsplex at Matthews, trying to pick up that upper 90 corner, cannot do so. Fawn Williams was beat. Charlotte Independence looking a little bit more better.
Kevon George taken down and needs medical attention. That was a nasty challenge from Jack McInerney, the 25-year-old from Chattanooga, Tennessee.
That's a difficult challenge to step out of. Ball coming out off the deflection and the restart by Indy 11. Good job by Kevon George stepping up to win it in the middle.
Kevon George continues to receive medical attention in the middle of the park here at the Sportsplex at Matthews, and it looks like we are going to have our first substitution for Mike Jeffries on the evening, and it'll come in the 73rd minute, probably in the 74th, as George still making his way to his feet, and he'll have to come off for a brief moment. And the crowd here at the Sportsplex at Matthews very appreciative of the work that George has put in the middle of the park. And how about this, Amon Zaid, who for all intents and purposes came into the new year expecting to be in an Indy 11 uniform, where he spent 2 seasons, 2016 and 2017. But the club and Zaid decided to mutually part ways. Zaid still holds the record for goals, most goals scored in a single season and all time, scored 15 in 2016. And said in the days leading up to this match that it was going to be strange playing against his old club, and a club that he gave so much to over the past 2 years, but he is a professional, and then he needs to move past that, and he's going to get an opportunity here to maybe provide a super sub moment for Charlotte and drive a dagger into his side, in which he scored so many goals for, and Jan Ekra is going to come on with Zaid as well. So Zaid and Ekra joining the fun in the 75th minute.
Free kick for the Independents as we return to play.
We expected Jeffries to go to the bench. Weren't sure what he was going to pull the trigger on. Decides to go with both of them. Now Jorge Herrera stepping up for a lofted ball into the near post.
Herrera, great ball in. And it was Lee Jung-soo who was looking to get any sort of deflection to it.
Right on cue, Jorge Herrera. If everybody just listened to me, be able to find the back of the net all the time. Serving a great ball in. Go ahead, Tyler. Insert comment.
If I listen to you all the time,
Please visit charlotteindependence.com/.
I don't know if I'd be here right now. Cordell Cato working on Matt Watson. A couple of shakes and shimmies. Cato drives it across. Mitchell able to get a touch to it. Ekra Strong work in the middle of the field. Bullied off the ball by Steinberger, and a foul going the other way.
Free kick, Indy 11.
You agree with that?
That's a difficult one. It's hard because you let the boys play, and then right at the end of it, there's an extra little push and tug, and you're going to see it again. The guy's just jostling for position. That's probably a foul right there. Pasher playing from the ground. And Zach Steinberger stepping in, and then Eckert just the recipient of the call. Of the call.
Coming soon, Jack's House Soccer Bar and Retail Store, located in Elizabeth neighborhood near American Legion Memorial Stadium.
Which teams are hitting peak performance in the USL? Find out every Monday afternoon when the USLsoccer.com power rankings are released to see where your team ranks after its most recent result. I have a feeling neither of these teams will move in either direction as Joel Johnson gets Suni Saad to bite. Was looking for the home run pass to Caleb Calvert. Bilal Duckett awkwardly handles the first one, gets it back to Miller. Great hands from Brendan Miller, able to hang on to it. Won't go down as a save, but saved the goal. Johnson, deft touch to bring it down. Joel Johnson really feeling himself now. Jan Ekra is trying to push his way through. Last touch. Going to be a goal kick. You mentioned a spark plug before. It really seems like Joel Johnson has found a rhythm in this one.
We've seen Joel Johnson much more active on the right side, and Jan Ekra getting down into the nitty-gritty in the middle of the field. Really thought Mike Jeffries was going to shift the formation a little bit. Haven't seen that so far.
Another substitution on the horizon for Martin Rennie. It'll be Justin Braun coming in, Tyler Pasher coming out. After that, both teams will have used 2 substitutions. And if my math is correct, both teams will have 1 more remaining.
I'm so proud of you.
Cordell Cato trying to race around Kevin Venegas. Great defending in the end from 22, able to win the throw-in as well. As a former defender, I'm sure that's got to get you going.
As a solid tackle, and what you're going to see here out of Justin Braun is most likely he should be coming over to the left-hand side. I know Suni had shifted over here, and Pasher had gone over to the right. With Pasher coming off, Suni's a little bit more technically capable with both feet. Justin Braun tends to float over on the left-hand side of the pitch, so keep an eye on that. With 10 minutes to go, be surprised if you get 1 more substitution from Mike Jeffries and his squad. Matthias sitting in the middle, help out there. He already brought on Jan Ekra. Some fresh legs. Sir already coming off. Kavan George sitting on the yellow card, could bring in Jake Araminda to help out and get things going. Again, when we've seen them push numbers and go forward, Cordell Cato, Joel Johnson, they've looked much more dangerous.
So Braun, the 31-year-old from Salt Lake City, Utah, in his 3rd season with Indy 11, will come onto the scene here in the 80th minute. Braun with already 40 appearances and 15 goals in an Indy 11 uniform. Spent 2014 and 15 with the Sacramento Republic. He's bounced around from Toronto FC, Real Salt Lake, Montreal, Chivas USA, you name it. I guess the word to use for Braun is journeyman.
Interesting, Indy's keeping him on the right side. Anytime that he's stepped in, he's always been on the left-hand side, moving up and down on that flank, but gonna roll the dice and keep Suni out there, see if they can isolate him against Joel and win that battle.
It's an all USL battle out here. Saad. Ioze. Fouls going against Joel Johnson. Dangerous set piece area here for Indy 11. We talked about this battle so far. Who would you give the edge to?
On the past 15, 20 minutes, you got to give the edge to Joel Johnson. We've seen some balls played into SUNY, but hasn't really been able to break him down. Joel Johnson going the other direction, especially offensively, has been able to take SUNY on one-on-one, but this is, like you said, Tyler, not an area that you want to give Indy 11 an opportunity to get on the end of. Shocked that SUNY Saad isn't involved in this set-piece opportunity. You can see the left footer exactly. Ioza Garcia going to try and knock something in. And true to form, expect Indy 11 to be pretty direct here. One ball in and one ball off the head to try and find the back of the net against Charlotte Independence.
Ioza. Great ball in towards the back post. Lee Jung-soo, very important touch there. Matt Watson trying to dink it into the area, and easy work for Brandon Miller.
And this is where the Independents need to capitalize, take advantage, push numbers forward. Indy 11 is caught out of position. Alex Martinez recognizes it, trying to go in transition.
Martinez is trying to cut it back, almost fell for Cato. And Fawn Williams just sending it the other way.
And now if you're Mike Jeffries, push your lineup. Again, you're approaching 9 minutes left in the match. Why not give your guys a higher line? Push the pressure a little bit more. Use the home field to your advantage. You've got the Jacks behind you. Jacks Militia, keep going. Keep pushing the pace and find another opportunity to put something in the back of the goal.
Crown and Alex Martinez and company asking for a handball there. Not going to receive it. '83rd minute. Still nothing separating these two teams except for about a 9-hour car drive. I say something?
Yellow card presented to number 17, Cordell Cato.
So Cordell Cato shown mustard here in the 83rd minute. Between last night's USL game of the week. Seen a lot of yellow cards and a couple red. Venegas awaiting into the 84th minute. Venegas, another good ball in, bodies hitting the floor. It was actually McInerney and Carlisle Mitchell who collided. Looks like Carlisle Mitchell just might have cramped up when he elevated for that header. And the 30-year-old from Trinidad and Tobago appears to be all right. Also more than 30 caps with the Trinidad and Tobago national team. Trinidad and Tobago, a country that I think that the United States men's national team will never take lightly again. Steinberger finding his way through, able to get it away from Jorge Herrera, tried to send it back for SUNY Saad. Saad battling with Jan Ekra. Not the best clearance in the world from Joel Johnson. Iman Zaid still looking for his first touch of the night. Steinberger looking to work with Braun. It's a bad idea, but the delivery from the 31-year-old who's made a number of stops, including those in Major League Soccer, probably has to do a lot better with the service. Vines Cato was trying to go not around but through Kevin Venegas. Jan Ekra. Ekra's become a very important piece to the Charlotte Independence side. Rarely gets a start, but almost always coming off the bench and acting as a catalyst in the middle of the park for Mike Jeffries in the later stages of any given match. Herrera, knee touch to bring it down.
The players will make their way over shortly after the final whistle. For your safety and the safety of others.
Cato stood up by Venegas.
Over railing or into the field.
Route 1 taken the other way. McInerney trying to get on the end of it, but Brandon Miller well off of his line and read it.
As we near the end of the game, we remind you to never drink and drive and to drink responsibly. Thank you for your cooperation.
Poor giveaway there from Lee Jung-soo.
Here our PA announcer making sure that everybody pays attention to very well-known rules, especially with the formation of the alliance of Good Road Cider and the Charlotte Independents. Talking to Mike Jeffries about it, saying that there are some important things you always need to live by. It's his only diet rule, actually. It's either beer or dessert, but never both.
Never both.
Words to live by, my friends.
And Mike Jeffries' dessert of choice?
Swedish fish. I'm gonna get him some of those.
Like a lifetime supply of Swedish fish.
Him a bag. I'm gonna write to the owners of Swedish Fish, whoever that is, Swedish Fish Incorporated, and let them know. Exactly.
Located in Sweden, in Stockholm.
Yeah.
Steinberger. Looking for a sweet ending to this match here at the Sportsplex at Matthews. Loose in the box. Johnson can handle it. McInerney, it took a nasty deflection off of Joel Johnson. McInerney can't believe it, and a corner coming up for Indy 11 as Johnson is cramping up.
Yeah, McInerney appealing, saying that it went off of Johnson's hand and just still a deflection. Decides to take it on the volley, even off the touch off Joel Johnson. Almost finds the upper corner behind Brandon Miller. You're going to get another look. Sweet little ball by Matt Watson. Nice flick on. And Joel Johnson just gets stuck, caught up underneath himself a little bit, goes off his head. Again, Indy 11 knocking on the door here in the closing moments of this match.
An inadvertent but crucial touch from Joel Johnson. Didn't know much about it, but might have saved the goal. Soon he saw it on top of the corner. It's another delicious delivery, but smothered by Brandon Miller. Into the 89th minute we go. A stalemate if there ever was one. Nothing worse than a stale Swedish fish.
I threw a whole bag out 2 weeks ago.
A whole bag?
I bought a bag for my significant other, and I did the deed and was being polite, and I opened the bag to taste them to make sure they were okay. I didn't want them to be poisoned.
to make sure they were okay.
I mean, you know, I'm getting married in a couple months. I got to make sure that she stays healthy, and I opened the bag to make sure they were okay. They weren't, so I saved her life, and I threw the bag out.
What was wrong with them?
They were stale.
So that's the kind of spouse that you're going to be, buying your significant other stale Swedish fish?
It's stale and lacking substance, much like this game.
And they said it wouldn't last.
Checking in for number 22, Joel Johnson.
And it's going to be Jake Arman coming on.
Jake Arman.
And who will replace Joel Johnson, who certainly put in his fair share of work. About 89 minutes worth. And Arman, Long Branch, New Jersey native. Spent 2 years at Monmouth University, coming on here. And just providing a little bit more fresh legs for Mike Jeffries in the dying moments of this one. Alex Martinez, Cato overlapping. 3 minutes of stoppage time here at the Sportsplex at Matthews. Great ball forward. McInerney, Brandon Miller tracking back. Offside.
Offside.
What a terrific ball forward from Soony Saad. McInerney just a step overzealous, however.
I tell you, the left side for Indy 11. Indy 11 in general, but especially the left side. Jose Garcia. We've seen it through Jack McInerney, Suni Saad. Their transition play is second to none in the USL.
Phoenix Rising, maybe?
We're going to see them later on tonight, aren't we? It'll be an interesting match for them as well, a tale of two squads. Very similar in nature. One likes to hold possession, the other one likes to go at pace. The likes of Fresno FC and Phoenix Rising.
Here's Cato. Alex Martinez now. A slip from Iose, it could be costly. Alex Martinez, there was a touch, it might have been a handball. I don't think Matt Watson knew too much about it. Alex Martinez with bullish work to win it back. Cato, delivery, not his best. Able to win it back, however. Former San Jose Earthquake. This is pass cut out by Carlisle, Mitchell, and Steinberger. Keeping possession now for Indy 11. Armin. In for Zaid. I don't think Zaid has gotten a touch since coming on. And Justin Braun unable to keep it in the field of play. And Braun just running away with the ball. Armin, long ball forward, skips for Martinez. Alex Martinez in the 93rd minute, going for goal. Never troubling Fawn Williams.
And that is pretty much the basis of the entire night for both squads. Looking for frustration to turn to fury. There's just a lack of ferociousness all around. Alex Martinez putting it on that left peg, just sailing it over the bar. Fawn Williams frustrated by his back line, not able to step in sooner. You can see the frustration by Alex Martinez, know that he's wasted another good opportunity.
Frustrated by his back line, or frustrated that he hasn't had to make a save yet tonight? Fawn Williams.
No goalkeeper's frustrated by not having to make a save. Get paid for just showing up to the office.
You should know about that. You're the worst. Still maybe time for one more opportunity. Is there late magic in store in Matthews? No, there is not. Guido Gonzalez Jr. brings this one to a close. Mike Jeffries and the Charlotte Independents with a lackluster performance, but it is worth a point, as neither Charlotte or Indy 11 can find a goal. Gutsy performance from both sides, but it ends in a scoreless draw. Point apiece for Charlotte and Indy 11. We'll be back in postgame with a few moments.
I don't have my wallet, so.
Perfect. You can send a digital payment.
I don't have one of those payment apps.
Perfect. You have a US-based bank account, right?
I have Wells Fargo.
Perfect. Then you should have Zelle.
Perfect.
Perfect.
The #1 mobile banking app just got better.
Does your coach use Zelle too?
Of course.
Another way we're building better every day.
Save the game for the spectacular play.
Full time at the Sportsplex in Matthews. Charlotte Independents avoid losing 3 straight, but they do get a draw out of this match with Indy 11. 90 minutes, no goals separate these two sides, but there is about a 9-hour car drive left for Indy 11 back to Indianapolis as they come away from the Sportsplex at Matthews also with a point. Tyler Terrence along with Devin Kerr. And Devin, really just not the best football match all around. Not a ton of chances, not a ton of creativity. There were, however, a couple of decent moments where we thought we might find a breakthrough. Brandon Miller able to get a save here, but at the end of the day, just not enough in it for both teams.
Well, give credit to Brandon Miller. We were extremely critical of him in the first half. His decisions weren't the best. A lot of times putting his team behind the 8 ball, but I'll tell you what, did a good job solidifying his place between the pipes in the second half. And this was the best chance we saw all match. Sam Vines whips a good cross in. And the center back from Indy 11 just stepping across, going off the crossbar. Fawn Williams, counting his lucking stars, just gonna punch this once away and regroup. And again, just 0-0 at half, and it carried over into the second. We saw a lot out of the left side from Tyler Pasher, from Jose Garcia, from Suni Saad, but again, just one-on-one challenges with Joel Johnson. That seemed to be the highlight for both squads in this 90 minutes.
Well, chances wouldn't be plentiful, but there would be some as we headed down the stretch. Tyler Pasher was very active. Him and Joel Johnson would go at it until Pasher and Johnson would both be subbed off. This is a terrific save from Brandon Miller. Check out this swerve. This is a perfect angle. Suni Saad just lets rip. Look where this starts and where this finishes. Brandon Miller lucky to get a touch to it.
And this one, he knew exactly what he was doing. Gets a nice little dip on it, gets underneath Brandon Miller, gets a touch on the bottom of his elbow, bounces, and then goes over the crossbar. And this is a good one by Joel Johnson. Gets all the way down to the end line, cuts it across to Jorge Herrera. Again, trying to pick out that far corner, unable to do so right off the crossbar. And again, Fawn Williams saved by the woodwork.
And Indy 11 would knock on the door a few times in the late stages of this one. Joel Johnson slipping here. Could have been costly, but gets a very important touch with his noggin. He didn't know much about it. Jack McInerney thought that there was a handball, but closer look, it hits right off the head of the Spaniard. And Brandon Miller able to avoid trouble there, as that would do it for the 90 minutes. And we're at the point in the season where we're past the beginning stage where it's too early to look at the standings. The top 8 and the playoff picture is starting to become a little bit more clear. Obviously way too early to talk about any of that right now, but as far as these two teams are concerned, Charlotte able to jump into the playoff picture. They get a point out of it, 2-2-2. And for Indy 11, they drop to 7th at 3-1-1 now. What do you see from this table?
Way too early to talk about it, so we're going to talk about it. I like it. I like where you're going. No, I think everything here is pretty much spot on. Don't be surprised if you see Nashville SC start to creep up a little bit. Unfortunate in some of their performances. Been dragged around in the mud a little bit. Some unfortunate red cards and PKs, but interestingly enough, this coming Wednesday, you're going to see numbers 5 and 7, FC Cincinnati and Indy 11 going to do battle on ESPN Match of the Week.
Well, we're going to check out our Wells Fargo save of the game, and it is none other than Brandon Miller, who made his debut in 2018 tonight, and it was this save off the Suni Saad shot.
Again, Suni Saad just in a tight little spot, gets a window of an opportunity, takes a quick peek over his shoulder right before the ball comes to him, looks up, see Brandon Miller situated pretty stereotypically in the middle of the goal, and as the ball drops, Brandon Miller able to get his hands down, just a tiny little touch. It's a bounce off the ground, it's going to go over the crossbar and grab the save of the game.
Well, the Charlotte Independence next match is going to be at the Charleston Battery. For Indy 11, they're going to be home against FC Cincinnati on May 2nd. That's the USL ESPN game of the week. Both Charlotte and Indy 11 settling for a point, as it's a 0-0 draw after 90 minutes here at the Sportsplex at Matthews. Ayman Zaid against his former team, unable to make an impact after coming on as a substitute. Didn't really even get a touch, as neither team were able to find their offensive swagger here on a rather lackluster day, but it's always fun when we're able to bring you the United Soccer League. For our entire crew and my broadcast partner, Devin Kerr, I'm Tyler Terrence saying so long for now. The final score from the Sportsplex at Matthews, Charlotte Independence 0, Indy 11 0. We'll talk to you soon, folks.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.